Hello, Math 7 students. We are now beginning our second video in Module 2, and that video is called Opposite Quantities Combine to Make Zero. Opposite Quantities Combine to Make Zero. And we can find that on page 56 in my comp book. So we will turn to that page right now. Opposite quantities combine to make zero. Our goal for today. Today we will learn about additive inverse with number lines and chips. Okay? We've talked about number lines, we've talked about chips, and now we're going to figure out what it means to have the additive inverse. Question, what are two models that show additive inverse? Hopefully you can already answer that, but if not, after this lesson you should be for sure. Okay, it's all about numbers. So a quick review. Number line, starting at 0, 0 has no value. All of the numbers to the right of 0 are positive. All of the numbers to the left of 0 are negative. Okay, things that you need to know. When you're counting up, starting at 0, this corresponds to positive numbers. So if you start counting up starting at 0, then it corresponds to positive numbers. If you're counting down starting at 0, this corresponds to negative numbers. Okay? So for example, if you're looking at this number line, who can tell me what this number line represents? We started at 0 and we counted down to what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what number is sitting right here? You need to write that number right there. Okay? If we start at 0 and we count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, what number should be sitting right here? If you said 7, you are correct. You need to write that on your number line. Okay? So now the question is that we ask is, where did you start on your number line? What number did we always start with on our number line? 0. That is correct, right? 0 right there. What do you call the distance between a number and 0 on the number line? What do we call this distance? Okay, what do we call this distance? And if you're going to say 7, then that is correct, but there's a special mathematical name that we need it to be called, and that's called absolute value. So the distance between any number and 0 on a number line is called absolute value. So right here on this little line next to the question mark, I need you to write absolute value. And if you can't remember how to spell absolute value, which is possible, it's kind of a tricky one, absolute value is spelled, I will do it as soon as I can get this pen to turn on, which I can't, so let me use a different pen. Absolute value is A, B, absolute value. Okay? The other thing you need to know about absolute value is sometimes it's drawn with these straight brackets and a number goes inside. So if we start at 0 and count till where we stop, we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the distance from 0 and the number is absolute value. So you're going to take the absolute value of -7. And what is the distance? The distance is 7, so the absolute value of -7 equals 7. Okay, so now if we take the absolute value of the other way, we have the absolute value of 7. And what is the distance from 0 to 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We get 7 again. So the reason that both of them are 7 is because distance is always in capital letters, so you don't forget. Distance is always positive. You cannot travel a negative distance. Distance is always positive. So when you're working with absolute value, your final answers will always be positive because distance from 0 is always positive. Okay? So the last question that you see right here is, what is the relationship between 7 and -7? Well, the relationship that they share, or the thing that they have in common, is that they have the same what? The same absolute value. Okay, they have the same absolute value. Good job. Okay, so on the next page, we're going to check out some more things. Check this out. This is a positive chip, and this is a negative chip right here. You've already been working with these because we played with them the other day. And so the yellow chips represent positive numbers. The red chips represent negative numbers. Show the following numbers with your chips. You're going to actually do that. You can draw them out or using the different colors of pens, or you can just draw circles and then put the sign in the middle. So this is a 5. So if I wanted to draw chips with 4, 5, I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What sign has to go on the inside? You are correct. There has to be a positive. So you're going to put 5 positives in those chips. The next one, it is negative 5. So again, you're going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in each one, you're going to put a negative sign. Okay, the next one, you have negative 8. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're going to put a negative in each one because that's what it asks you to represent. And then the last one is 8. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And inside, you're going to put a positive because 8 is known as a positive 8. So we just showed those 4 different numbers with chips. Okay? What do you notice about these? Well, if we put this one with this one, this one and this one, this one and this one, this one and this one, and this one with this one, we know that these two numbers are opposites of each other, and what gets created if you put all of those together? A 0 pair, okay, or 0 pairs. There's 5 0 pairs. So what one would this be? They're opposites of each other, good. And what do you notice about all of these? These would be, everybody, what are they called? What are they called? 0 pairs. Good job. Because whenever you have a positive number added to a negative number or a negative number added to a positive number, it becomes 0. Okay? Oh, wait. Go back to added inverse. These numbers are the opposites of each other, which is the same thing for the fancy word inverse. So if we're adding the opposite, we're adding the opposite. We had 5, we added negative 5. What did we get? A 0 pair. We have 5, we added a negative 5, and we got 0 pairs. We have negative 8, we added a positive 8, and we got 0 pairs. So additive inverse means to add the opposite. Additive inverse means to add the opposite. Okay, good job. All right, so now we're going to go finish the bottom of this page. Additive inverse means add the opposite, like we just talked about. You're going to take the number that you started with and then add the opposite to it. When you do that, that results in a 0 pair. So we have 12. We're adding the opposite. What is the opposite of 12? The opposite of 12 is a negative 12. So we have 12 plus a negative 12. So you can do it on both models. You can use the number line and you can use the chips. So here's our number line. We start at 0 always. We represent what we have. So we have 12. And then we add the opposite. So we add back. And what number do you end up sitting on? 0. So that shows you your 0 pair. Or the chips, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 positives. We add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 negatives. And what do all of them equal when we circle them? 0 pairs. Okay? So, what do we know about the additive inverse? The additive inverse means that you add the opposite, because opposite is a fancy word for the word inverse. Okay, take the number you start with and add the opposite to it. The result would be a 0 pair. So now, let's go back to our goal. Today, we learned about the additive inverse with number lines and chips. We showed it in both ways. So here it is on the number line. Here it is with the chips. And then the question that you have to answer is, what are 2 models that show additive inverse? I'm hoping that by you staring at this right now that you can answer that question. and we'll be talking about that tomorrow when we check. We'll do a lot of practice with this tomorrow, so make sure that you understand it and come prepared. All right, my dears, that's it for this lesson. Thank you very much. Bye.